So many people on the show, including the Cell Guru team, call this a slow week. Now that has got to be the most ridiculous thing because, you know, when it's tech and we have only 6 phones to do, we call it a slow week. Let me take you through what all we have. Now you decide if this is a slow week in the world of mobiles. We've got the brand new Vivo V15. This is not the Pro version. Saves you 5,000 rupees. You get almost everything you get on the Pro. I will tell you the differences. Then we've got this. The cheapest Xiaomi Redmi phone ever, the Redmi Go. Very different in terms of the starter smartphone that everybody really wants to get started with. But what do you really compromise when you're buying a 4,000 rupee Xiaomi phone? Then we've got an incredible shootout. Now, this is a shootout I've been waiting for a very, very long time. This is the current king, the Huawei Mate 20. In every which way, the Pro version of this is easily the best optics phone in the world right now. But then the new challenger is the Samsung, the Galaxy S10, and we're using the Plus version because this has got cameras and optics at a whole new level. So what happens? Is this a slow week? Well, let's carry on with the show. You tell me right at the end.
Vivo's V15 is here. This one does not have the Pro tag, and at 5,000 rupees cheaper, we find out if Vivo has cut down on some specs as well and retained its pop-up star. We pit two of the best camera phones out there, the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, the reigning phone photography champion, against the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus that ups the stakes with a triple sensor approach. Which one is the better shooter? We find out. Xiaomi sets the entry-level turf with the power-packed Redmi Go. We take a detailed look at the phone and tell you if this makes a good fit as your first Android phone. Losing and misplacing your phone will never be a hassle again with a new app that tells you just where it is and even rewards the person returning it to you. All on the show today.
We'll start off with this. This is the Vivo V15, a 32 megapixel, 6 GB RAM phone that looks exactly like the V15 Pro. Now, I have to say that for about 4,000 or 5,000 rupees less, this is a very interesting phone, and I'm going to unbox it for you right now. So let's get this one out. Let's unbox it and take a look. Does it actually totally and absolutely look like the Vivo V15 Pro? Looks wise, Vivo V15 Pro is one of the best looking phones you can buy in the market right now. So 4-5 हज़ार रुपए सस्ता अगर है phone, तो does it still look as good? So as always, phone के साथ इन्होंने छोटी सी documentation दी है and they've given a cover. Cover जो normal typical silicone type का है वो नहीं है. It's actually quite a good looking, well made cover. So आप देखिए, it's a slightly different looking one. So it's got silicone as a base here, but it's got these rubber sides, which I think makes it look a little bit classier. And after that, let's get to the phone. So this is exactly the sparkle, the triple camera at the back. As you can see, fingerprint scanner is there at the back, which isn't there on the Vivo V15 Pro because of the fact that it's an in-display fingerprint scanner. But you can see it right here. Triple camera, 32 megapixel instead of 42. So that really is the predominant difference in this one. But of course, it's still got all the other cool things. Let's fire this up. So the 32 megapixel, of course, is in the pop-up camera, not the rear camera for sure. And that really makes this very interesting because the 32 megapixel pop-up camera is part of the Pro edition. And of course, you already know, I'm going to just give you a little bit of background to it. This is, of course, how it works. It'll pop up once I go to the selfie part. So you can see right now, we've got that pop-up camera, and then once I take it away, it's good. So a lot of people ask me that they are very interested in buying the Vivo V15 Pro, maybe now the Vivo V15, but the one part that kind of makes them a little nervous is the pop-up camera because it may be delicate looking, but it has a complete split personality because this is solid engineering in every which way. So if that's the reason you love the rest of the phone, but you're not buying it because you find that very delicate pop-up camera may be something that you may break, well, you're not going to manage to do that at all. Let's take a look at the rest of the phone.
Vivo's pop-up delight. The Vivo V15 Pro has a new twin on the block, the Vivo V15. And while this phone loses the Pro tag, it also comes at a slightly lower price tag of 23,990 rupees. The Vivo V15 Pro brought a lot of innovative and big features to the under 30K segment, like the in-display fingerprint scanner and the pop-up selfie camera along with a full view display. So does the 5,000 rupee difference between the V15 and V15 Pro also knock off some of these key features? features as well? Let's find out. The Vivo V15 has a similar design language as its Pro sibling. It has a polycarbonate body with curved sides. We got the sparkly glamour red for review, but the phone also comes in a gradient royal blue, and there's also an all-black variant. The body is prone to scratches and smudges are easily seen as well. It's best to snap on a cover on this phone to keep it scratch-free. The front has Corning Gorilla Glass 5 protection. The Vivo V15 skips the in-display fingerprint scanner and has one on the rear of the phone. We didn't mind it since it is conveniently located and does the job. The display has vivid colors on the 6.53-inch screen. It is a full HD Plus display, and it is a full view edge-to-edge display which looks premium, and watching videos on this phone is a delight. There's minimum bezel and no notch at all. This has of course been made possible by the pop-up camera on the V15. Like the Pro, this one has a pop-up camera too. It works well and pops up instantly when the front camera is turned on. The pop-up is accompanied with a small mechanical sound which complements the design. It's a 32-megapixel camera that pops up, and selfies are quite remarkable with some detailing, and the bokeh is clear. On the rear, the 48-megapixel lens on the Pro does not make it to this cheaper variant. Instead, it has a 12-megapixel lens along with an 8-megapixel super wide-angle camera and a 5-megapixel depth camera. The wide-angle camera lets you capture a lot more, and it's great that Vivo has retained this on this phone. The images taken otherwise are good with bright colors and more clarity. The Vivo V15 performed well on day-to-day tasks. There is a MediaTek P70 processor, and it's quite capable. Multitasking was smooth, and this, coupled with a massive 6GB RAM, make this phone very smooth. We played Subway Surfers for hours and did not find any shortcomings. Vivo sticks to its FUNTOUCH OS 9 here, and it does take some getting used to. The interface, however, is neat and the icons are big. There is a massive 4000 mAh battery on board with dual-engine fast charging. The battery was impressive, almost even more so than the Pro variant. It lasted us more than 1 day of heavy usage, and the battery is definitely one of the highlights of this phone. Which brings us to the verdict. At 23,990 rupees, the Vivo V15 tries to make a name for itself and lie beyond the shadow of its Pro sibling. It does bring some scratches with it and misses an in-display fingerprint scanner and a 48-megapixel rear lens, but otherwise it performs well and offers a good proposition for 5,000 rupees less. If you're looking at a phone that looks brilliant and are sold on the pop-up selfie camera, then the Vivo V15 is a good choice.
Moving on now to the next review. This is the Redmi Go. I already showed this to you right at the beginning. This is a smartphone from Xiaomi that is now the lowest priced in their entire portfolio. Now this is truly a start smartphone. So if you haven't done smartphone, or if you've done a smartphone, you've been very disappointed with the experience and went back to a feature phone, then this may well be the way to go. So let me take you through. So this is the phone. So in terms of looks, it's actually quite nice looking, gives you a very nice metallic look at the back. Small phone, very, very easy to hold in your hand. In this era of extremely large phones now with notches and now no notches, this of course takes you right back to old school. There's no notch on this. The screen is very, very small. In fact, the bezel on this, the borders on this almost are ridiculous. I'm going to show it to you in a second. So what else? So it's got 1 GB RAM. And for all those people thinking, now there's a 12 GB RAM phone, well, forget it. This isn't the phone for you if that's going to be your buying criteria. 1 GB RAM and 8 GB storage. That's the built-in storage it comes with. Of course, you can do the rest on your own. So what do I mean by the boundaries and bezels being absolutely incredible? Just look at the top and the bottom. So it actually drops. So if I was to put in a notch on this phone, in the area that they haven't got a screen, I could put in, by my calculation, about 9 notches, you know, those little strips. And if it was supposed to be those pinholes, which are those water drop designs, about 45 of them. So this is not a phone you're going to buy if it's going to be about a large screen. This is a small phone, starter phone for people getting into the smartphone market. I've already told you what the RAM and everything else is, but do remember, you can put in some additional stuff into it, including a memory card, and you can also do dual SIM, but not both on 4G. Take a look at our review.
After being the king of budget and mid-segment phones, there's one more slice of the pie that Xiaomi has now its eyes on: entry-level phones. And it sets the turf with the newly launched Redmi Go. Yes, this is Xiaomi's cheapest phone to date at 4,499 rupees. But we take this phone for a spin to see just how it performs and if it can really go that extra mile as an entry-level phone. Redmi Go is a cute-looking phone with a small and slim structure. We got this bright blue variant for review and it also comes in a black color. The back of the phone is plastic and it's pretty light. It has a 5-inch HD display with a 720p resolution. The colors on the screen are muted and the display is pretty average. One thing that makes this phone quite old school are the chunky bezels on the phone. These are both on the top and the bottom, but otherwise it's a decent looking phone. Under the hood, the phone comes with 1GB of RAM and 8GB of storage coupled with the Snapdragon 425 chipset. It performs well enough for a phone under 5,000 rupees. We played a light game on it and it did a decent job. There is a dual SIM slot and one micro SD slot. Xiaomi seems to have kept the hybrid dual SIM slot for its phone above 10K. The phone runs on Android Go variant, which is ideal for the little RAM that this phone packs in. Google brings its own optimized set of apps like YouTube Go, Maps Go and others.
Now this runs on Android's special Go edition, which means that not only do you get access to the entire Android apps, but also specialized apps which are meant only for Go. And these apps make your device run smoother, they are lighter, they take less space and hence overall improve the experience of a person using the smartphone.
The optics are pretty basic on the Redmi Go. There is an 8-megapixel rear camera, it is average and the colors on images are not enhanced. Coming to the front camera, there is a 5-megapixel selfie shooter which took some decent images in good light. Xiaomi has gone big with the battery on the Redmi Go. It has a 3000 mAh battery and Xiaomi says it can give up to 10 days of standby time. When we tested it, the phone ran well over a day with full charge with no hiccups. Our verdict: there are many things that the Redmi Go has going for it, including a large battery and Android Go, which makes using this phone quite a breeze. If the RAM was a little more, it would have handled heavy usage as well. But if you are going to be a first-time smartphone user, then this could very well be your first Android phone.
So I'm going to do a shootout. I've already told you the Huawei Mate 20 Pro versus the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. But before we get into this optical challenge, can I just say this once? These may well be the two most beautiful phones that I've ever had in my hand together. Both are stunning, both have fantastic screens, both have ergonomics and a form factor that anyone will say, and this screams premium in every which way. I'm not going to say which one is a better looking phone because I would find it very, very difficult to actually come up with that as a conclusion, which is why we will do a shootout. And I introduced it right in the beginning. And remember, our rule in shootouts is very simple. It could be anybody, any brand, any company. We could be totally in love with that company for the fact they do great stuff, but we will only declare one winner. This is the Huawei Mate 20 Pro versus the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Optics and camera challenge, only one will win.
Huawei Mate 20 Pro was regarded to be one of the best camera phones in 2018 for its innovative and powerful optics. Samsung, with its latest flagship, the S10 Plus, has upped the ante with some pretty compelling specs in its optics. Both phones bring a lot to the table, and with the Huawei P30 going to be launched in India soon, it's a great time for phone photography. But let's pit these two together for now and see which one takes the cake when it comes to optics. The Huawei Mate 20 Pro has a 4-point design with a triple camera setup. There is a 40-megapixel primary lens, a 20-megapixel ultra-wide lens and an 8-megapixel telephoto lens. These are all LEICA lenses and the phone comes with 5 times optical zoom. The Samsung S10 Plus also has a triple camera setup with a 12-megapixel wide-angle lens, another 12-megapixel telephoto lens and a 16-megapixel ultra-wide lens. It has 2 times optical zoom on its telephoto lens. The ultra-wide lens on both packs in quite a bit, up to 120 degrees and even more. Accessing and toggling between modes is easy on the S10 Plus. Even the telephoto lens can be toggled on from here. We took these phones around on a sunny day and clicked some great shots. We did this in natural light and the color reproduction was really bright on the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. The Huawei Mate 20 Pro keeps the colors less saturated and more real. But how do these phones stack up when it comes to minute detailing? Well, we took these images of these flowers and when we zoomed in, both phones gave images that were crystal clear. And this is where the power of the megapixels comes into play. Because the Mate 20 Pro has a 40-megapixel camera, the details are visible and the difference can be seen. But the S10 Plus is not too behind. When zoomed into the petals, the edge detailing was very impressive. Now for the portrait mode on these phones, the depth is good on both, with the background slightly more blurred in the Mate 20 Pro. The edges are clear and defined on both phones. One feature that the Mate 20 Pro packs in is a super macro mode, which can really shoot close-ups of objects in quite some detail. While all images taken in good light wowed us, the real test comes in dusk and in low light. We took some pictures of these flowers in low light and the Mate 20 Pro made the image brighter than normal, while the S10 Plus did a stellar job at keeping the colors warm and real. The S10 Plus comes with a variable aperture that allows for more light to come in and is the clear winner here. But when it comes to night shots, the Mate 20 Pro has a separate night mode and colors were sharp and there were no grains. The S10 Plus tries to pull off good images as well and manages to do so, but the dedicated night mode will roll out with the next software update. Both phones are supported by AI, but the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus comes with an interesting scene optimizer feature which guides you with a yellow dot as to what would make a good shot. We like this feature and it really can bring out the pro photographer in you. The S10 Plus wowed us with its 960 frames per second super slow motion video, that too in HD. The phone comes with a 4K HDR 10 Plus recording, while the Mate 20 Pro comes with a 4K HDR mode. The videos taken were well balanced, the cameras did not shake, and again it is hard to pick one clear winner on the video front. The battle of the selfies. The competition is between the dual camera with a 10 and an 8 megapixel lens on the S10 Plus and the single 24 megapixel lens on the Mate 20 Pro. The selfie on the S10 Plus is more refined and stands out. The colors on the Mate 20 Pro seem a little forced, but the bokeh and depth in the Mate 20 Pro is commendable since it has only one camera. Our verdict: Huawei is the reigning champion in mobile photography with LEICA lenses and a superior AI in the camera. The Mate 20 Pro retains that reign, although the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus does put up a very good fight. The colors are bright and rich on the S10 Plus and the variable aperture wowed us. But with great night shots and many different modes to shoot with even in the video section, the Mate 20 Pro delivers a punch with its camera and sets very high grounds for the new P30 series.
So on the Cell Guru Show, we've done some stuff, lots more coming up right after the break. Now let's solve a problem of yours that has been one of the biggest. No, I'm not talking about battery life, and I'm also not talking about your phone screen shattering. I think we are reaching that stage where maybe these things are almost taken care of. But the one thing that is not taken care of, at least not in a brilliant way, is when you lose your phone or your phone gets stolen. I know you can track it, but how many people really know how to do it? Which is why Tag8, a company, came up with a completely different way to help you when you lose your phone or it gets stolen. Very different.
The panic that arises when we realize that we have left our phone, or worse yet, when it's lost. Well, one company wants you to know you are in safe hands. This is all through an app that will not just show you where your lost phone is, but ensure that it is returned and the person returning it is rewarded. This is Digital Tag Find My Phone, an app launched by Tag8. It's free to download for all Android users. And how it works is, if someone loses their phone and it is picked up and that person tries a password combination to unlock the phone immediately sends this message on the screen that gives the person an opportunity to return the phone. The message you key in can be customized, and while the free version allows for this, users with the premium account, which costs around 699 rupees for 1 year, can even check the status of their phone through a dashboard on the website. Not just the current location of the phone, but also a log of who is trying to open the phone along with the picture will be recorded. This feature is also in the app itself, and so if someone is snooping in on your phone and opening your phone, this app will store a log with a picture of everyone unlocking the device. In case the person who picks up the lost phone switches it off, the dashboard will show the last seen location and the user will have the option to ring the phone remotely. The app gives the person a chance to be earnest, and if returned, the person is rewarded by Tag8. If not, the app will give users an option to lodge an FIR as well. But if you have been holding back on an Android flagship for safety reasons, Find My Phone might just be all you need.
That then was the Cell Guru Show for this week. Lots coming up next week. They called it a slow week this week. I completely disagree, but boy, are we in fast mode starting next week. See you then.